Alright, we're here for the second episode of D tier in the challenge series. We have Brands Hatch, Silverstone, Laguna Seca, and Barcelona on offer for this episode. Hopefully this one doesn't take as long as the last one. It had a 55-minute recording before. The days of exceeding the recording limit are still behind me, as they have been since year one, but I still keep in mind. And I also like to keep videos in the 40-minute range. Probably between like 40 and 46. Not 54, or whatever the last episode was. Just looking at the points there. It's basically between the top 5. I think I'm not reading that correctly. Never mind. Eric has a 16-point lead over everybody else. So we'll just get into Brands Hatch and see if anybody has a hope in heck of catching back up to him. You're on the starting grid for Brands Hatch and Eric and Tyler, the two that are technically fighting for the championship lead, even though Eric has a 16-point lead. Start on the same row of the starting grid. So chances are he's not going to be losing any ground in the championship unless he has a god-awful start like he did at Black Cat County. I should really stop typing, and I should probably start the race. Lots of GT4 cars near the front too, so those will probably be pretty easy fodder overtakes for Eric and Tyler. Now, Ohio's looking pretty set to be the winner of the race. However, if there was a track on the schedule that I think the GT4 cars have any hope of winning, it would be this one, as there goes Taylor to prove my point. Eric tried to sneak his way in. He didn't find the space, though. You just saw on the map, Nitori like shot through like multiple cars to make up places. Or maybe that was the person who were outside here. Was that Eric? No, it wasn't. It was somebody else. It's probably Kogasa then. Grass being cooked up ahead. I'm not sure for what reason that is. Nitori and Tyler, too wide for 7th place. Tyler trying to at least stay with Eric. They remained too wide. They were dead even through the second to last turn. At the last turn, Nitori brakes later, but Tyler has the inside. However, that hasn't really helped a lot. Tyler has the advantage heading towards 1, and I think he'll keep the defense going. Nitori runs a crossover on him though. Tyler actually squeezes her to the inside. Nitori using all of the curbs available just to stay on the road. Tries to hold the outside at 3. These two have still not settled their differences yet. I'm heading to 4. Nitori creeping around the outside of Tyler, but she's finding herself on the curb, and finally, that battle is decided. Meanwhile, ahead, Eric has overtaken Taylor, looking for his next target in the form of Wayne Hansen, to continue his reign of terror against the participants in this particular championship. If he's quick about this overtake and overtaking the next GT4 cars, he might have a shot at Hyde. But probably not, seeing as they are in the same vehicle. which does not lend well to making overtakes with AI drivers in mind. Ironically, up to this point, after one full episode, into the fifth race of the championship, I have 0 points. Certainly, though, I will be changing that in this race, running second place, multiple seconds ahead of everybody else. Eric now in fourth, ahead of Hansen for turn 1. Only Isabella stands in the way of him, and another podium result. Tyler has not been making a lot of progress on Taylor, now that he's finally dealt with Nitori behind him. He has made marginal progress, I should say. He hasn't made none, but he has not made a lot. Sham is the other driver who has yet to score a point. He's in 10th right now, so that will change if he can stay here, but this is what's behind him, so that may be easier said than done. He has the optimal GT4 car out of the bunch, but that hasn't seemed to help him or Dedrick up to this point. Eric passed Isabella. I totally missed it. I assume it was down the end of the back straightaway. And I'm already kind of in his line of sight. It probably will be before the end of this lap, and he'll probably either be ahead of me or he'll at least be right behind me. You know, actually Tyler is losing half a tenth to Taylor ahead. Meanwhile, Hyde is running lap times that are 2 seconds faster than me, and like half a second faster than Hyde. Hyde is not running faster than Hyde. That's not how that works. He's running a second faster than everyone that isn't Eric. So, yeah. The F40s may not be well balanced at all. Now that we have both of them having a good race, we see their true colors. And they are the color of domination, which I imagine will probably be a shade of purple or red. Purple for royalty, or red for the blood of the innocent, the way that this race is going. He's pretty much on my bumper. He has 1 lap to make the pass and takes second after starting P7. Hyde is a distant thought at this point. He's probably 6-7 seconds up the track. His only goal at this point could really be the second position. He doesn't have a chance into 1 though. I'm sort of glancing at the gaps over there between everybody else. There's not a lot. Eric has missed turn 2, a rare mistake for him there. This is like the final major passing zone. And I think he's probably, yeah, he's gonna have it. There's not even a contest. The top speed difference is just too much. Wayne Hansen is like within range of Isabella, but he's not going faster than her, so... And Haikido exits the last turn, and he will claim another victory for the F40s, this time at Brands Hatch. And I turned on my tablet to mark the win down on the spreadsheet, and then I turned my tablet back off for doing that. My brain is just pretty much all over the place at the moment, so I couldn't really explain. Even while passing me, Eric's fastest lap was the final lap, where he ran only about a tenth off of Hyde, so I'm kind of thinking that maybe Eric had a chance at winning that, if like there were more laps. Let's see, next on the list we have Grey Rock. Silverstone. Of course. So with that result, everybody is scored now. Took 5 races. The points lead is still 16, however, it's no longer over Tyler, it's over Hyde for Eric, because, yeah, the F40s were a mistake. So enjoy your free wins, boys, because next time you'll be in 488s. There's plenty of Ferraris in this tier, so it's not like they won't be in it next year with the, you know, exclusion of the F40. There's still a few other cars that made the cut to be in tier D particularly. So I just head into Silverstone and just see what happens next. We've seen leads like this collapse before. It wouldn't be the first time, but Eric has been pretty much flawless the first 5 races. I mean, as good as he could get with the starting grid spots he's had, because, I mean, perfection is a cruel mistress, unless your name is Michael Schumacher. So, or like Lewis Hamilton in like 2014, maybe. Now the starting grid for Silverstone, and the game has put the F40s on a bit of a leash. Eric starts down in 14th, while Hyde just starts in 10th. So, probably an opportunity to make up some spots, or some points on him in this race, especially with the multitude of GT4 cars ahead of him. This is sort of weird looking. You have 2 Huracans, 2 211s, 2 Maseratis, splitting 2 Aventadors. It kind of looks like F1 qualifying almost. And then we have this third 211, which kind of breaks that. Try and hit the button. That was frame perfect. Hanashimi with quite a good start, or Taylor with the poor start. However you want to look at it. Eric did not have the start he desired. He was in last for a second until Midori missed turn 2. I was like, that's not on. You might have the fastest car, but the rules of racing etiquette still apply to you here. Mr. Schwartz nearly running his fellow Porsche driver off the track altogether. Tyler up ahead goes super low on the track just to try and get a run on, or just to try and get around Schwartz. He might not do so though, because Schwartz, well, he's all over the place, so maybe he will. Meanwhile, at the front, the top 3 have pretty much held station. Kaneshimi attempted to overtake Taylor through those 2 corners, but could not achieve. We'll try again through Copse, and this is a bold strategy. Especially with how brave Taylor can just afford to be on the brakes here. DePrisco was also trying to make a move on Casquette through there. He will try another one through the S's. He has missed a little bit. Somehow Yoshiro didn't make him pay for that quite how I expected. However, she is down there now. And she manages to stay in 6th place. Things have stagnated at the back. Bad exit out of the S's for Eric has allowed Nitori to pass. Eric on the inside should be able to defend that, and actually, as a matter of fact, will also go around Dedrick Schwartz at the same time. A bit of an accordion effect heading through the last two corners. At some point, Kaneshima got ahead of Taylor. Hyde will attempt to do the same. Nearly contact, but they didn't collide, technically. Hyde still kept himself there and shot around the outside at 2. He's on the inside for 3. But Taylor's got better grip in the GT4 car. She can make herself an obstruction, if nothing else. She defends for that section of corners. However, it's always simply a matter of time for any GT4 vehicle. And there goes the F40 with no effort. Yoshiro is even in the area hoping to capitalize after defending from Hyde, to also no avail. Interi trying to pass Schwartz on the inside, but GT4's handling once again paying off, allowing Schwartz to not only stay ahead of Interi, but also pass Eric, who went wide for that corner. Eric's now boxed in. Schwartz had a run on McIntosh, but I boxed him in. And now it's McIntosh too wide with me, while Eric is too wide with Schwartz. Eric and Schwartz are still both boxed in. I managed to stay ahead of Tyler for the time being. Most of the action's happening in the back, as Eric now gets a run on Tyler through the S's. And manages to capitalize off that. He'll be on his way up towards 11th place, chasing after me and Kogasa to get into, finally, the points positions. Meanwhile, though, his title rival is certainly making a lot of progress at the moment. Up to 5th, looking for P4. The two Huracans are just kind of holding station here. They made a small gap to Isabella behind, but they haven't pulled away the way that I really expected. This is sort of leaving the door open for Hyde to get there and, attempt to pass them in the future, the last lap or two, if he can get around to Kaneshima here. He runs the fastest lap, and he also mows the lawn a bit, so that's sort of squandered his opportunity to pass here. Eric is going to arrive on my inside line. Again, better handling in GT4 evens things out. It makes it so that at least the supercar drivers like this have to work, but not work super hard. Because all of their work no longer matters the second that we're on a straight line. Unless I block him, in which case then he cannot go anywhere. Look at me looking more like an ARC driver than... And a weird line into this corner, but ultimately didn't matter too much. Schwartz got back ahead of Interi for 14th place through there. She's not really had a lot of pace to show for anything in this episode so far. Sham at some point got ahead of DeFrisco. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. He's now tracing down Taylor for P7. He's on a mission, seeing as he's just in a GT4 car. He got that 1 point at Brands Hatch, and I guess he's got some sort of confidence from that. He's going to take a run around through Beckett's, and he's actually going to make a pretty decisive move on Taylor there. I saw something happening back here, I'm not really sure what it was. I think it was me and Kogasa attempting to still scramble for P10. Eric has chosen the wrong lane. It won't stop him from getting around me. Or maybe it will, actually. I shoot around the outside, additional downforce at my benefit. I can no longer defend, but Kogasa can. I had eventually got around to Kaneshimi, and Yoshiro was actually kind of nearby. Surprisingly, due to that battle, whenever it happened, it allowed her to stay within range. Tyler now finds himself back in last. I'm not quite sure how this is taking place. Eric goes down the inside of Kogasa into turn 3. Pretty textbook there. There's not much that Kogasa could really do about it by that point. Despite that, she still managed to spook Eric into missing the next corner. And pseudo forced her way back by, but it wasn't really enough. As there goes Eric back ahead of Kogasa, this time for real, I assume. And into P10. So he has 1 point to Hyde's 10 as he passed Isabella while the camera was not focused on him. He's also not that far off the Huracans at the front. Will this be another Red Bull ring though? Or can Hyde actually make these crucial overtakes and pretty much put him right there with Eric in points, at least to make it something of a title fight for the second half of the championship? We'll basically have a lap to do it, because I don't think he's going to really have an opportunity into Stowe here. But he's certainly going to be close, and honestly, depending on how well he takes Stowe compared to them, he might have a chance winning the club, which is like the final left-hander. Yeah, there's nothing in Stowe. He's still too far back, but he certainly got close to them. Does he have the run to try and pass Wayne here? It doesn't seem like it, no. He's gonna try, and if nothing else, just probably startle him a bit, but I don't really know if that accomplished much more than that. Eric got ahead of Taylor while the camera was not focused on him. He's on DePrisco's rear wing now. Meanwhile, there's a battle for 5th. Kaneshimi has not had the kind of pace I expected from that car here. Hyde still kind of existing in Hansen's rear view right about now. He could have probably sent it into 3, but he chose not to, which may prove to be his downfall, because now he'll have to make a very decisive move into the next right or left-hander as Yoshiro defends from Sham back here, whilst being held up by the Aventador. Hyde does not get a chance at a move. However, despite Hansen's best efforts to pretty much let him try, Sham so badly wanted to find room there for that overtake, but there was none. And this train actually hasn't really allowed Eric to catch up with him yet. He had to make up a 4-second difference. So I don't think he will get anything more than 8th. And I don't think Hyde can win the race. The most he can really do at this point is he might get 2nd into Stowe on Wayne Hansen, but I don't think he's got a chance at the lead from Lene. Just based on... well, he might. He's got Hansen on the ropes through the S's. Using pretty much the gutter technique from Initial D. He does get ahead of Hansen. If he... no, that exit totally botched it. If he had a really good exit there somehow, he could have probably gotten Lene into this last braking zone, but... yeah, no, he's gotten 2nd. So that's 12 points to him. And with another lap, I have no doubt in my mind that he'd won the race. However, he doesn't get it. He's not close enough to even think about a dive into the final braking zone. And so Lene will take victory at Silverstone. Maybe a bit of a hollow one because she was obviously not the fastest car on track. But a win is a win. It's 1-2 for this duo, the Undernight duo basically, as, you know, they kind of joined together, so they get a 1-2. Quite cute. Sebastian got ahead of Yoshiro while the camera was pointed not there. And I scored the final point of the race. So even I got around Taylor towards the tail end of that race, demonstrating that she had insufficient pace Bars. It is now down to a 7-point lead. Eric did some damage mitigation going from 14th to 8th, but Hyde, with 2nd from 10th on the grid, outshined that. Mind you, I think he probably had easier overtakes to make. He had a lot of GT4 cars. Eric had to start the race by getting around multiple Lamborghinis and... oh... yeah, just a lot of Lamborghinis. So he probably had a more difficult time on most of those passes, just because of their, he doesn't have the same power advantage he would have versus a GT4. So now we head into Laguna Seca, which is probably the last chance for a GT4 car to win a race, because there's not really a straightaway worth speaking about at Laguna Seca. Even the front straightaway is just kind of like a lie. It's a straightaway. A, it's not really that straight. B, it's not that long either. We're on the starting grid for Laguna Seca, and the starting grid giveth, starting grid taketh away. Hyde is now the one starting in 14th on the most difficult track to overtake at, pretty much in the in the game, but certainly the most in the championship. Magione and Ruidas Magione could rival it, but it's not in this championship. Same with Vallelunga, but again, not in this championship. So this is pretty much the last chance for a GT4 car to win a race in this championship. Kogasa is on pole, but she's got to keep numerous non-GT4 cars behind her. If Cher and Lene swap places, I have there's a considerably high chance that Kogasa could win the race. But that's not how the cookie crumbled, so Kogasa's got to keep a Huracan, an Aventador, and an F40 behind her. It'll be easier here than anywhere else, but it ain't going to be easy even still. Especially when she has to do it for 6 laps, not 5. Oh, yeah, I forgot the Huracan is all-wheel drive, so that was never really in the cards. And there goes Dominic, so Kogasa's demoted to 3rd. Hyde's down to last. He must have probably had some bad wheel spin. You know what's funny is there's no visual difference between the base and the Step 3 F40. It's kind of a shame he gets the Mayan side over merely 12th place. And still, she does not make it stick. I hang on the outside with my increased cornering. Eric overtook Kogasa somewhere along the way. Hansen got around both Nitori and Sebastian on this first lap. 2 passes in 1 lap, that's quite rare at Laguna Seca. Laguna Seca, if I can enunciate my words, would be helpful as a person who's supposed to be commentating over the video, Raker. It's a bit of a clustered mess all over the grid right about now. Kogasa has completely missed turn 1. Wayne Hansen makes an easy maneuver as a result. Isabella has a broken front bumper, owing to very much probably the same phenomenon. Isabella has just muscled Tyler out of the way. That'll probably lead to some aggressive exchanges in the pit area later. Mark my words. Eric is all over DePrisco's business right now. But DePrisco keeps getting better exits out of these turns with all-wheel drive, so it'll take quite the opportunity for Eric to make a pass stick. Well, I think I see why they keep missing the corners. They use like a quarter brake. Like, I guess these cars do not have ABS, but like, is it really that bad? Isabella just about hangs on to 10th place following her identical error. So yeah, I guess the Lotuses will just never make turn 1 here. It just cannot happen. And heaven knows you don't want to be in front of it if it's, you know, if you're going towards turn 1, because you probably won't be making turn 1 either. Let's go, and Mark Lene is the winner of this race. She's already got like a 5-second lead at Laguna Seca. So and Eric has yet to overtake DePrisco, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the conclusion that she's already won. Another missed corner, another position lost. So at this rate, Kogas is going to end up placing 9th. History repeats itself. Isabella missed turn 1, stayed on Tyler's inside, got back into P10. Taylor, however, did not do so. Admittedly, I kind of forgot there was a third 211 in the race. But yeah, so Taylor is behind me going to T1. Luckily, her Lotus is so small and so lightweight that her rear-ending me didn't really do anything to me. It gave me pale yellow rear bumper damage, but it didn't take me out of the race completely. It was probably for the best for her and for me, because there definitely would have been some heated exchanges in the pit area after that as well. The next one will be interesting, because if and when Kogasa misses turn 1 the next time, the vehicle that'll pass her is Dedrick, another GT4 car. Dedrick won't really be able to make the distance that everything else has been able to make on her. So it's possible that there may be another collision after that, say into the corkscrew. Depending on... okay, never mind, yeah. Nitori's already cleared of the danger zone of the Lotus, so she will not be run into by Kogasa. As interesting and funny as Toho on Toho action would be in that regard. And actually, Schwartz may not lose the position at all, because Kogasa's still on the inside. And they're both GT4s. Schwartz still on her outside, though. But the inside lane for another corner. Never mind, Schwartz is still there. But now she's back ahead. Only for history to repeat itself into the next, into turn 1 the next time. And speaking of history repeating itself, Eric has still been caught in the same infinite loop between himself and DePrisco for 2nd place. He's just not been able to put himself in a position to make a pass due to the Aventador's, all-wheel drive. Hi-Ho also has not been able to make any passes. He still sits in 13th place. The only place he has gained courtesy of Taylor throwing herself out of the race. Nitori is within range, but she just lets off and just kind of lets this go. Yep, here we go again. Kugusa misses turn 1. Schwartz doesn't get there though, so there's been a continuum shift. However, Yoshiro didn't capitalize on Schwartz not getting around, so yeah, I think that's pretty much the finishing order there. As close as Eric might be to DePrisco, that's certainly not the way to get around him, I tell you that right now. Missing corners that badly. That's called being desperate. There are much better places to be desperate than that. Because that's barely even a passing zone. He gets right up to his bumper. But he could never close the book. Or, he never closed the deal? I've confused myself. Anyway, it's going to be 2 W's in a row for Lene, for Silverstone, and now she has conquered Laguna Seca. This marks her 10th Challenge Series victory. Admittedly, after a couple races like that, and the Ferrari F40 drivers swapping results, she might be distantly in with a shot, especially if she continues this in the following event. Well, no, she's still 26 points off, but well, she had 17 going into Silverstone, so she's up there with like the other Lamborghinis, more so, or more or less. Now we head into the final race of this episode, Barcelona, where passing can be difficult, but only if it's a vehicle of the same type as you. GT4 will probably not be able to overtake other GT4s, but if an F40 or a Lamborghini comes up behind the GT4 car, it's not going to be a contest. Here, the starting grid for Barcelona. And Hyde is on pole, so I don't want to say this is a foregone conclusion, but it's probably is. Eric's down in 11th, so a chance for Hyde to make up some ground, but maybe not a ton. Eric will probably be averaging 1 overtake per lap here, so I would anticipate he finishes probably P5. And if you're saying that's not 5 positions, that's 6, I know. He's probably going to get more than 1 on 1 lap. However, McIntosh will get the better launch every time there's been an F40 on pole. At least there's been a Huracan next to it. So their all-wheel drive launch power to at least keep them a little bit honest. The battle of the Porsches through turns 1 and 2. That parade is on towards 3. Inside for Sham, he's going to approach the Lamborghini. The battle might continue through 4. Nope, Sham will pull back ahead. He actually shoot to the outside. I guess he didn't want to rear end Hansen. I suppose that's a pretty valid reason. Eric has been overtaken by someone. Oh, DePrisco, who's up to 9th from 12th off the start. Kai has already taken back the lead. I don't even know who he did that. I guess that must have been into 4. There's no other place that could have happened. You don't really look at 5 as an immediate passing zone. You look at it as where any battles that start in 4 come to a close. Anyway, Duprisco has ahead. Oh my god, has gotten ahead of me for P8. Eric is to my outside, so that means he got ahead of Yoshiro not very long ago, and Kaneshimi. He's ahead, and he's already pulled a 3-second lead. Victoria with an absolutely huge run into 1, but she just kind of lets it fizzle out. She doesn't feel like doing anything right now. Eric passed me into turn 1, not even a contest, of course. However, I have grip through 3, and he's now boxed in to a certain extent between me and Taylor. It doesn't really matter. Oh, it does. He's missed 4. I just mistook tires squealing for my mom trying to get my attention. I am very good at hearing things, I swear. Eric will just get back ahead of me anyway through 5, so formality. Road is becoming congested. I think on the map I just saw, yes, Duprisco moved into 7th ahead of Taylor. Eric will try to follow suit, and he has, in fact, followed suit. Yoshiro gets around Kaneshimi through this slow 3rd sector. Sham is ironically putting the Huracans under pressure through the lower speed corners. Just a matter that, you know, that no longer matters because here is a straightaway. And away Wayne Hansen goes. Away he goes. The lead is now 8 seconds. The F40s were a mistake. I cannot stress. I swear, they were tested here. At this very track, and they were not going this fast. I will even look at the flippin' tier list. Not that. In that time trial, in that little practice session, the F40s ran a 58.2. This F40's running a 56.1. This is bullcrap. This is literally like studying for a test in school and still failing. Actually, this is more like cheating for a test and still failing. Schwartz actually tried to pass Victory there. That's cute. Shame you hit a straightaway. Eric eventually got ahead of Duprisco, which is kind of surprising to me. Figured he put up more of a fight than that, but he didn't. Sham might actually make an overtake here. It's kind of funny because of how bad Hansen is driving right now. That a GT4 may actually pass him if he doesn't get his stuff together. get ahead of Schwartz well before we reach turn 1. Konashimi attempts to retake 11th from Yoshiro, no success. Because we have, I say we, because the Maserati ahead. We have the grip. We have the meats. Schwartz manages to try and send his way back in on Schwartz, but is boxed in by Nitori, meaning that will go ultimately nowhere. Eric has run a Nitori out of turn 9, but it's not really that much of one. He will not make the pass. Meanwhile, Dominic, I think, will get around Schwartz here. It's a maybe. Actually, that's a no, because he totally botched turn 11. Instead, he'll be overtaken by Taylor. Eric is just losing his mind trying to get around this Aventador. He just cannot seem to make any headway on Kawashiro at the moment. He draws alongside, but like he's also not alongside. He brakes a lot later. He is now alongside. He is no longer alongside. Nitori brakes later, or like adjust braking. He is kind of alongside. He is now alongside, and just like that, he's ahead. He has the inside for turn 3, and Nitori can do nothing about it. Also, I said alongside an ungodly number of times during that sequence. I think Tier D might need to be reworked again. I'm losing my ability to speak, apparently. Not a great problem to have for somebody who's trying to commentate a video, but here we are. Because ultimately, this field has 7 people that can win a race. And, I mean, the F40s are definitely gone. That much is for sure, but like, the GT4s have no purpose to be here other than to make it a 15-car race. They are literally pointless. The world was like laid out before Kogasa at Laguna Seconds. She couldn't even get close. Meanwhile, Hyde and the Cheater Mobile will take another victory here at Barcelona. His 3rd in 4 races. By 24 seconds over Tyler McIntosh. And, hey, look at me, another point. Another 10th place. Despite Lene's 2 consecutive victories, well, no, it's not his 3rd win in a row. It's his 3rd win in the series. Lene took 2 in a row, and I was just like, you know, Lene tied 2 consecutive wins, but follows it up with a measly 13th place. Unable to get around even a GT4 car, only beating the Lotuses, who really were not very good in this. Like, they didn't really have much to their name in this episode at all. So it's an 8-point it's an 8-point difference between 1st and 2nd. Eric's still the points leader, but it has, you know, come down a little bit since the beginning of this episode, where it used to be twice that. Hyde is starting to get momentum going in the second half of this championship, so not all hope was lost for an actual, battle for this championship. There does have to be some kind of entertainment value here. Which is why I almost always, I always make an effort to have at least 2 drivers in each car, so that in theory, if one car is dominant, then at least it has its, the other car to compete with. So, and thank God for that, because if Eric were really here just mopping everything up, the championship might literally already be clinched by this point. I'm not even kidding. Honest to God, nobody else even has a chance at the championship besides the 2 Ferrari drivers. It would take, consecutive wins from Hansen to even have a hope of winning this championship, and that would require him beating them at Monza, which I don't think would happen. So, he can get all the starting grid luck he wants in the world, but if the F40s start anywhere in the top 10 in any race, they'll be on the podium. At least one of them. I have created myself a depressing reality in this scenario. So, next year, I assure you, they will be driving some other Ferrari. There are definitely other options. Hopefully, the lap times of those Ferraris are not blatant lies.